Hello, and welcome to the W.A.I.T channel. What Am I Thinking? A podcast where two sisters share uplifting conversations on fun and sometimes serious topics.
Join us each week by clicking the notification bell and subscribing to our channel. If you enjoy the show, use the share link. It's one of the best ways to expand the conversation.
Hello and welcome back to the W.A.I.T channel. What am I thinking? Today we're going to talk about an extremely binge-worthy series on HBO, Succession. And they're in their final season. And we're not going to pretty much talk about any plot details or anything like that that's going on. We really want to just focus on Logan's children. So by now we know that Logan, he passed away on the airplane en route to do his Gojo deal. And at one point I thought, you guys are trying to pull our leg. Logan is still alive someplace. He drove off because I just found it too difficult to believe that he would pass in this way. But I think the writers, you know, if you want to be true to your script, that's how it started. Right, with his father, you know, getting ready to hand his company over to his son. He has this terrible stroke. Yep. And they think that he's going to die. So, bravo, writers. I take my hat off to you for being true to this character and what more than likely would have happened with him.
Yeah, because they don't have a ton of episodes left. In order for us to see the succession happen, he has to die.
Right.
He has to die.
He had to die.
Unless they were going to do the opposite and, like, you know, he is going to live and rule until, you know, he's 100, you know. So I thought that was appropriate for them to go ahead, allow him to pass away so that we can see the succession process unfold. So,
but let me, before we get into this, and I'll let you take over from that point after I say this. I was kind of sad to see that the season started with the siblings coming together and them working together and getting ready to build something together, and that they were behaving like brothers and a sister, and you could see the love there and how they really wanted to equally have something, to own something. And that's what I always wanted for them. And then what happens? Greed, power, all of those elements of big business began seeping in, where you got to have a king. Only one person can wear the crown. And that was the very thing that destroyed their family in the first place.
But the thing that brought them together was they were all three equally deceived
by their father
and mother. That's what I'm saying. We can add mom in there too. Right. So that's what caused them to forge that bond. And naturally, when it, so let's talk about them. So let's talk about Kendo. So Kendo is a wild card in the sense that he has the business acumen to run the company. But Kendall gets in Kendall's own way. It was kind of funny to see the episode after their named co-CEO kind of thing. Here he goes to Hugo, already trying to do slippery, sly stuff. But in the end, what we do see so far is he and Roman were on the same page with the deal, but you still had Shiv out there on the outside. But to Roman's credit, he was trying to continue to add Shiv back in, even though before his father passed away, he was almost about to screw both of them and go back. So it's like you see these marks of family
dysfunction.
But I'm like going to say, it shows his head of the marks of them being family, but at the same time, you see on the shadow, there is that dysfunction, that is that overlying thing that they all have to deal with. So with Kendo, he gets in his own way. Roman is just a tortured child. He has this tortured child inside of him, and from his perspective, he does. So it's like he wants to be that person. That let's talk about this moment, which I thought whether it was coming from a this is what I'm going to use to blow up the deal kind of place or not. But when he talked about Mattson not allowing them the time.
Oh, that was real.
Oh, I loved that. So, because I thought about it, I was like, yeah. And I didn't realize, because sometimes they don't show you everything. And you don't know how much is real time and what. Until they showed the brother back there trying to deal with Marsha Connor, I didn't realize that there had not been a service or anything. So,
because remember they were at the house the previous season, and they were being told to come the very next day.
I get it, but I'm just saying I did not. It kind of missed me that they have not even buried this man, and Mattson is like, "Come to me," and so I love that so much. And, in the background with Connor trying to, and he's like, if I'm going to take it. And then Kendall's like, well, FaceTime us, send us pictures. And Roman's like, no, we don't want to see it. And so it's like you have those real family moments.
Yeah.
And in the midst of this big, mega conglomerate billion-dollar business deal going on. So I love that. And that is Roman. That's him thinking about the last voicemail he left his dad at the same time as him, trying to tell him that he loved him. But in the voicemail, he was like, this is cunty behavior. It's like who talks to their dad like that anyway, but they do. But
that the part of that episode I had to pay twice was Shiv lying in bed that morning when she received the call, 20 weeks pregnant.
Yes.
I was trying to do this timeline of when were you last with Tom, and is this only 4 months really have gone by?
Because think about it, he was wanting, because when he thought he was going to prison, he wanted to get her pregnant. And they kept going back and forth. And they had that moment where she was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
And I tried to remember as a viewer, did we get to see that actually happen? Did they end up having that moment? Because they have all these start and stop things in their relationship. So obviously at some point,
something
they
happened.
had that moment.
Something
and
happened.
So
yeah.
I feel for her. Because once again, here she is wanting to step into this business role that they have pushed her aside from, telling her she doesn't have the experience, and now motherhood happens to her in the midst of the breakup of her relationship. And so when she says, "Do you want to go out or do you want to go to dinner or something after?" and he's like, "Oh." I just want to smack him through the TV.
I know.
He makes me so upset. I understand it to a point, but Shiv has really been trying to show up in the marriage in a better, different way at the same time. It's almost like they can't be on the same page at the same time.
Right.
So when one is ready, the other is not. So, and I just feel for Shiv because she's the only girl, and she doesn't trust her brothers a lot because she's been messed over by her dad a lot.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they move forward now that the brother seemingly did this great thing. The kill list has come out. We see who's moving forward. The reactions to the kill list was really something too.
Priceless.
Yes. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the funeral. Does Connor step up and finally get to do something that they can say good job on, or has he yet again
Okay, so we know Connor.
And his new wife. Oh my goodness. And who knows what Marsha is pushing for.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that funny here. They're trying to sell the house in the midst of grieving for the father.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So if you're not watching Succession, binge it. This is the final season. It is a very, very interesting take on billionaire problems, which your average citizen will never have to deal with. But it can give you a peek into some of the billionaires that have been in the news lately.
It is art imitating life, very much
truly, so. $787 million worth of art. So, so thanks for listening to our update on Succession. Just kind of giving you a little glimpse into the world of the Roy family. And once again, if you haven't been watching, go ahead and start and continue to listen to the W.A.I.T channel so you can hear what we are thinking. Thank you.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely ours and should be taken as such. Our thoughts are intended purely for entertainment purposes. Please do not take anything we say as fact or advice. Thank you for listening.